Our next guest is Santa Claus. He even looks like Father Christmas. But in fact, he's a candidate for election to succeed the Alaska Congressman Don Young, and his opponent is Sarah Palin. So we've got Santa Claus pitching up against the Wicked Witch of the East, Sarah Palin. Santa Claus joins me now, and those are words I never thought I'd ever say. Good evening, Santa, or should I call you Mr. Claus?
Good evening, George. If I can call you George, you're welcome to call me Santa. Thank you for asking.
Santa, it is wonderful to see you on the Mother of All talk shows. Tell us, first of all,
thank you for inviting me.
What this election is. Tell us what's this election all about, and is Sarah Palin really going to be your opponent? Because if she is, I'm headed for Alaska to campaign for you. I've got my winter boots on already. Go on.
Thank you very much. This is for the U.S. House of Representatives to finish Don Young's remainder of his term, which ends this calendar year, essentially. And I'm in the special election, which is just for those several months before that term ends. People have been asking me to go for the 2 years after that, but I'm not sure that I'm going to do that. My campaign is probably something you'd be interested in, mostly because I'm independent, progressive, democratic socialist. Some of that should resound, and some of it sort of positions me directly in opposition to Sarah. Sarah was up here a lot longer than I've been, and she has some baggage from way back when. So I'm trying to turn a new leaf for whoever might succeed me in that particular office. And I'm not spending more than $400 on my entire campaign. So that should be a real signal saying no outside influence. Nobody's going to be, that's pretty independent, I think.
That's fantastic. I don't know what you get for $400 in Alaska. Probably not
you get a
much.
Website.
Are you therefore going to be mainly campaigning online?
Yes, thank you. Social media.
Well, this is a good boost to your campaign. There's more than 1 million people will see this interview over the course of the week. Are you the official Democratic Party candidate?
No, I'm not. That's what I meant by independent. I'm not affiliating with any particular party. I'm just independent. And that's a big deal up here. Back when Senator Bernie Sanders was running against Hillary Clinton up in Alaska, years ago, I was one of his alternate delegates. And when it came time for the primary, the Democratic primary, he garnered 82% of the vote up here in Alaska. So that's a little bit different from a lot of the rest of the United States.
What's the electorate like in your constituency? Describe them in class terms.
We're sort of evenly split almost. We have as many Republicans as Democrats, essentially, and we have more independents than we have either Republicans or Democrats. So the independents have a huge say in our elections up here. I tend to lean more towards the Democratic side and more liberal.
But what's the demography of the constituency? Is it working class? Is it peasant? Is it farmer, fishing? What is it?
It's mostly working class, and I know you've been a big advocate for the working class through the years, as have I. I'm a big union supporter over here, and we have a thing called the PRO Act, which I think is eventually going to succeed, which gives unions a lot of protections. And one of the other issues here is our health system. You've heard of Medicare for All, I'm sure by now, and that's another thing I'm championing.
Yeah. And does Sarah Palin know yet that she's going to have to face Santa Claus that everybody in the world loves?
She filed after I did, so I'm sure she does know. And the funny thing is, what I've been hearing from a lot of people, I think it's amusing, but we'll see how it plays out. Years ago, she was earning Pinocchio awards because of what she was saying. And Pinocchio, as we know, is related to untruths or lies, depending on how you look at it. And some people have characterized this race as Santa versus Pinocchio, because the two of us have the highest name recognition among the 48 candidates who are in this particular race.
Well, I have no doubt. Now, I hope it's your second name that places you on the ballot paper, because you'll be quite high up on a list of 48 with the letter C. And she'll be quite far down with the letter P. And these kind of things count. Do people vote in person or by post, or has that changed recently?
Thanks for asking. Yes, it changed recently. We are doing this particular special election by mail, and the deadline for voting is June 11th. So people are encouraged to send their ballots in once they start receiving them from the government here. We also have ranked choice voting. Maine did it, state of Maine, and now we're trying it up here in Alaska. And that kind of switches the entire way people kind of deal with the voting. One thing that I wrote a while back, which I'm just going to refer to, ranked choice voting reduces partisanship, encourages more candidates to run, boosts voter turnout, takes power away from special interests and out-of-state influence, and makes it almost impossible for anyone to rig an election. So that's why I support ranked choice voting. It's the first time we're trying that up here.
Yes. I think that will work in your favor. I don't know if it's the same in Alaska, but Santa Claus usually comes down our chimneys with presents for our children. You, if you're only going to spend $400, will not be distributing any presents. But what's your platform? What are your main three policies?
Well, as I mentioned before, Medicare for all, union support, child tax credit, a wealth tax on the tippy-top wealthiest in the United States, remove the cap on Social Security contributions, social media platforms, which I think is something you're particularly interested in now with Musk getting into the fray. So Musk, and Twitter versus Facebook. I, in particular, was on Facebook years ago. I left in 2018 after saying a fond farewell to my beloved 309,000 followers, which isn't too bad. That came from my running in the 2008-2012 presidential election, by the way, advocating for children's issues, child health, safety, and welfare. And I think with the social media platforms, I left Facebook because I disagreed with the company itself, not the platform. And now that I'm on Twitter, Twitter refuses to give me that little blue check mark, even though I'm a candidate for federal office. And they sort of throttle the tweet, distribution, et cetera. So I'm not too happy about that. I'm not so sure if Elon Musk getting into the fray is going to make it different, whether it's privately owned, like with Zuckerberg, or if Musk owns it, or if it stays the way it is, Twitter in this case.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll put in a word for you with Elon Musk, and we'll see if Santa Claus can't get a blue tick. And I hope everyone watching this follows you on Twitter. Just Santa Claus, is it?
No, it's Santa Claus for AK, which is the abbreviation for Alaska in the United States. So Santa Claus for AK. Yeah, they limit it to 15 letters.
You can count me as your follower right now, Santa.
Thank you, George.
And
I appreciate it.
Many of our viewers back you. And I wish you every success in the special election in Alaska.
George, may I give you a quick blessing?
Would be the best Christmas present anyone could. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you. May I give you and your viewers and listeners a quick blessing? May each of you have a lifetime that's filled with happiness, peace, good health, prosperity, and most of all, love, which is the greatest gift.
Amen. Thank you very much indeed.